Chair now recognizes a gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Hice.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can't begin to express, as others have, and I appreciate every comment regarding our condolences for the tremendous loss that you have experienced and for the courage that you exhibit by bringing your stories out into the public for the sole purpose of correcting an extremely serious problem that we have in our country. And Mr. Ronnebeck, I believe you said it so well when you said this is the family's biggest nightmare. I can only imagine. And our prayers for each of you. Ms. Vaughn, I would like to begin with you. A while ago, Mr. Chen gave some statistics with great platitudes that would try to convince us that all is well when it comes to our federal government deporting illegal criminals. But as you yourself pointed out, those stats are flawed at best. There is some information from the weekly departures and detention report from ICE from September of 2014, in which they said that as of September 2014, there were some 166,781 convicted criminal aliens who had received final orders of removal and yet for one reason or another were not removed. They are to this day still at large in the United States. In addition to that number was another 174,283 convicted criminals who are facing some sort of pending deportation, and they now are at large as well in the United States. These numbers come up to my addition, over 341,000 convicted illegal aliens in this country at large. Is that number roughly correct, Ms. Vaughn?
Yes, that number comes directly from ICE's statistics, and I believe is the exact information from the previous question.
The question has got to be, why in the world is ICE releasing these convicted criminals?
Well, the main reason is because of policies in place that the Obama administration has implemented that either exempt large numbers of even convicted criminal aliens from immigration enforcement because they are deemed not a priority, or because ICE officers are told to release them pending quote-unquote deportation proceedings that are not going to happen for years into the future. And that's the exact case of Altamirano, who killed Grant Ronnebeck, is that he was allowed to be released and await deportation proceedings rather than held in custody and removed in an expeditious manner. Most of these are discretionary releases. They're ICE's choice. A few of them are court orders, but the vast majority of them are coming about as a result of policies, deliberate policies.
Okay, you mentioned earlier, and I'm going to paraphrase, but I jotted down a couple of notes. You mentioned earlier something to the effect that illegals face no threat of being deported. And you went on to say, in essence, that the federal government says that they will not tolerate criminal behavior by illegal aliens, and yet, in essence, the federal government, on the other hand, has removed the necessary tools that ICE needs to do their job to send it. Is this an accurate assessment of what you had stated?
Yes.
Okay. With that, I'd like to, Sheriff, come to you. Again, thank you for your service to our country and your commitment to keep us safe. You mentioned in your testimony that there's a policy vacuum, actually an anti-policy attitude from this administration to adhere to the rule of law and to do what they are required to do. I'm amazed with the startling ease that illegals are able to get driver's license. Can you real quickly address that?
I can. Specific to the driver's license issue, there's a couple of issues that if anyone will give you honest feedback in any of the states that issue them, and now California does as well, they are mostly predicated on forged birth certificates or inadequate documentation. They do nothing to truly identify any of the folks that are here illegally. In California, as a matter of fact, you don't even need any government documentation. You can simply go in, meet with a DMV representative, and they can, quote unquote, verify your ID through the course of that interview. We had a deputy killed in the line of duty several months ago by someone in the country illegally. He was in possession of a Utah birth certificate or an out-of-state birth certificate and on an alias. And none of the DMV information from California and many of the states that issue driver's licenses to undocumented immigrants share any data with ICE, so there can be no cross-checking of identification with the folks that have the actual identification.
Thank you, sir.
And the